It happened at the Mahata Creek when the sockeye were spawning in the fall. A young man, the son of the chief, was with his family at a fish camp there. Every morning,
Wild Man of the Woods, a Kwakirilian myth.
dun 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 dun! It happened at the Mahata Creek when the sockeye were spawning in the fall. A young man, the son of the chief, was with his family at a fish camp there. Every morning, the young man would get up. No one else was around. He would go sit in a pool of ice-cold water with just his head sticking out until he was numb. That fall, the nights were colder and frostier than usual. The young man wanted to be a strong fighter, better than all the others. He thought the water would make him tough. After sitting in the cold water for a while, he could hardly climb out of the pool, and his legs would feel like rubber. One morning he found that he could not walk home. His legs would not work properly. While he was struggling to walk, a chipmunk came along with a flame at the end of its tail. He followed the chipmunk. Then the next thing he knew, he was at the top of the big hill behind the fishing camp. He did not know how he got there. He was not himself. He could not remember going up the hill. He found his legs were working properly by this time, so he started to run down the hill through the thick brush. He could see the roofs of the shelters at the fishing camp and the smoke from the fires. Then suddenly he found that he was at the top of the hill again. The young man started to run down the hill once more until he could see the rooftops of his people and the smoke from their campfire. Then he found himself at the top of the hill. Again he could not remember how he got up there. He decided to try something else. He made a strong rope from boughs of young cedar and tied it around his waist. He planned to run down the hill, and when he got close enough to the camp so that he could see the roofs and the smoke, he would quickly tie himself to a tree, then call for help. So he ran down the steep hill with the rope tied around his waist. He could hear the children playing. Suddenly, he was back on top of the hill again.
I might as well just give up and stay here. The chief and his wife had been looking for their son. Everyone in the camp looked for him for a long time. Finally, they gave up the search. They thought he had been taken by wild animals. When the salmon run was over, the people went back to their village.
A year later, when the people returned to the fishing camp, some of the women took a canoe and wandered along the shore. They were approaching a long white beach that looked like a good clamming place.
What's that on the beach? It looks like an eagle.
No, it's too big to be an eagle.
Maybe it's a bear cub. No, wait a minute. I think it's a man.
It is! It's the chief's son who was lost last year.
We'll go back to the village and tell the villagers that we have seen the chief's son.
The women shortly returned to the village. The next morning, the women talked to the chief, and they devised a plan to go after the boy. The chief and one of his men returned to the beach to find the boy. When they arrived at the beach, they found the boy digging clams. He beat the clam on a rock, and he sucked the contents out. When the men got to the beach, they put their boat down and brought it out. They snuck up behind the boy, who was eating clams. Just when the men were upon him, he realized they were there. He got up, ran towards them, and jumped over their heads. The boy landed and ran into a hole next to the big spruce tree. But the man with the chief saw the boy jump into the big spruce tree. The chief and the man came up with a plan. The next morning they would come back. The chief would try to sneak up on the wild man and catch him. But the man would stay by the big hole in the spruce tree in case the wild man tried to jump into it. The next morning the chief and the man came back. The chief was sneaking up on the wild man when the wild man realized he was there. The wild man ran for the hole in the spruce tree. But little did he know that the other man was waiting for him.
I got him! I got him!
The men tied the wild man up and put him in a boat. They were going to take him back to the village they came from. The men returned to the village with the wild man. They took the wild man to the chief's house. When the wild man was brought back to the village, the chief and his wife took him into their longhouse to feed him. When the wild man was brought back to the chief's house, he would not eat a thing. They brought to him the finest Doritos and the finest sun chips. Even the tender animal cookies he would not try. Then he noticed an ant on the wall. He picked off the ant and ate it. That was one thing he would eat. So he gathered more and more ants to eat. Many years later, when he was well, the wild man was talking to his father.
I really feel I'm different from all the others. I run faster, jump higher, and I am stronger. Now I'm ready to be a warrior.
Because of the wild man's incredible strength, the tribe won many battles.
Hi, I'm Zach, and I played the wild man.
Hi, I'm Tim, and I played the chief's wife, woman number 2, and man number 1. I was also the narrator.
Howdy, I'm Dustin. I played Chief, woman number 1, and special effects coordinator.
Hi, I'm Kirk. I'm operating the camera. I was the director and the narrator.
Don't use drugs.